Hello, everybody. I hope you've been having a nice morning. You've been having a good day, and we hope that you will really enjoy here our presentation. My name is Dimitra, and I'll be chairing the session here today, and I will be giving you shortly an introduction of what it is to come. We have a speaker who is going to tell us all about influencers. I'm definitely looking forward to that. A little bit about some generic aspects. If you have any questions, please do make sure that you put them in the Q&A. The session is going to last for about 40 minutes, and at the end we can take questions, and then our speaker Elmira will kindly answer them. So hopefully at the end we'll have a nice conversation. As I said before, my name is Dimitra. I'll be chairing the session. My background is mainly on information systems. I'm a board member of the UK Association of Information Systems, and that's how the session came about. So we are really hoping that you are going to enjoy it. Our speaker for today is Dr. Ermina Zafarova. She's a principal lecturer at Northumbria University, and she has a background on digital marketing. She has done quite a lot of research on digital marketing, and in particular on digital influencers, which is a new phenomenon that becomes more and more prominent the last few years. I find it actually fascinating how these people actually are important for businesses. So Elmira will tell us all about that, and she will tell us how digital influencers can help businesses or not help businesses, perhaps in some cases, and will tell us the impact that those digital influencers have. And she will also tell us, she told me, that how we can become influencers ourselves. So I'll pass you on to Elmira, and I hope you enjoy the session.
Okay, thank you very much, Dimitra, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session. Well, thank you for introduction, Dimitra, and yeah, the session is, I thought it will be interesting to look at the digital influencers. I have been doing research on them for the past, I would say, about 5 years. And it's a phenomenon which I think everyone is familiar with, even if you're not researching on digital influencers, but you have come across of them. But perhaps not everyone realize how, what a bigger role they actually play for the businesses for the past years, and it's only increasing. In terms of the academic research in digital influencers, it has picked up, I would say, last 2-3 years. It has actually really picked up very substantially. One of the papers I've written, which is where I really started my, becoming very interested in digital influencers, was in 2017, and this is where I realized that actually before that there wasn't much research on digital influencers, but since then that there is abundance of this research trying to find out what's the motivation behind posting the content by the users, because essentially digital influencers are the user-generated content, and also how to become a credible digital influencer. So this at this session, I'll try to keep it quite practical. I like things to be very clear. I will refer to some of the theories which we can relate to digital influencers, just to make it obviously more academic. And I also tried to put some of the statistics, some interesting facts around digital influencers, just to give you an idea how big it is as well, because I think through the numbers we can realize actually, this is a very big type of communication. So if we start with the second slide, please, Dimitra. So first of all, what does digital influencers mean? So you're all familiar with normal traditional types of celebrities, which are actors, musicians, sports people, and etc. And digital influencers, they're also known as online celebrities or micro celebrities or bloggers. They themselves, I think, like to call themselves digital influencers. I guess it gives them a little bit more credibility, so more official sort of terminology. But all that is actually means that it's a different type of celebrity, not the one we're used to. If traditional types of celebrities known for the certain expertise, for instance, actors obviously known for them for their acting in the movies, etc., where the digital influencers, they're not particularly known for certain expertise, although they could be an expert in particular industry, the area. Their identity is based on recognition, admiration, association, and aspiration of their subscribers. So their popularity is estimated by the number of followers they have in a certain type of social media. And the type of social media I particularly wanted to focus today is YouTube and Instagram, purely because these are the two social media types where we have most prominent micro celebrities. Just to mention as well, through my talk, I will refer, sometimes I'll say digital influencers or social media influencers, micro celebrities. And the reason I refer to all that is to make it, it's all in my view, essentially, it's actually mean the same thing. But as you look at the academic research, you will see that everyone use all this terminology to just one or another to some extent. So yes, so they, the YouTube and Instagram provides more opportunities for becoming a digital influencer. Instagram, for instance, have got a terminology called Insta famous, which you might have come across of. So these are the users who have become famous due to the means of Instagram. So from, I would say, 2004, when the social media become more popular, this is when we started having, this is what created the digital influencers. It wasn't as prominent at these stages, but for the last 5 years, as I said, this is when this has been recognized more officially as this is a successful means of communication between the consumers and the businesses as well. So the companies increasingly and successfully use these micro celebrities for the purposes of product endorsement. And I want to stress the successful word here, because the statistics does show that social media influencers do affect the sales. They are successful in what they're doing, and it's working. And it's particularly working when targeting younger generations, because younger people are the ones which perhaps are the most prominent users of the social media types. If we take Generation Z, these are the adults who were born sort of from 1995 towards 2000. They prefer, they do trust digital influencers more than traditional types of celebrities or even traditional type of promotion, because they're looking for authentic content. This is a type of generation which likes instant access. They go through the information very quickly. In fact, they get tired if they get the same information. But they do relate to micro celebrities more than they relate to traditional types of celebrities, and that's why it's good for businesses to target these audiences. Then another consumer profile, which is also influenced by the celebrities online, is women, and almost 90% of women actually look for social media for the purchase decisions. And celebrity endorsement, the micro celebrities, is one of the influences in their decisions. More than males, so we will see that women are more influenced by the social media influences than male when it comes to the shopping, to the purchase decisions on the products. However, there are still some concerns around what makes a digital influencers credible, you know, about the self-presentations of these influencers, perhaps lack of regulations when it comes to this type of communication. Then obviously, if we compare with a traditional type of celebrities, there's maybe more guidelines. And that's what we will look at as well in the forthcoming slides as well. So what I put here as well is what makes a good digital influencer, and we look at the credibility theories, self-presentation and trustworthiness, because we will mention this term as well. So we'll move on. We are fine to move to the next one, please, Dimitra. Thank you. Okay, so where does digital influence come from? It really comes from the user-generated content. Yeah, so it's content which created and posted by the users, and the online techniques allows consumers to engage creatively in producing and distributing information through social networks. That actually changed the consumer behavior. Yeah, it's changed their attitudes, and they now share their experience on the products. They put the reviews of the products, the pictures, and etc. So the most influential and convincing factor on consumer behavior is recommendations and photographs of purchase of other consumers. So obviously the literature points out that user-generated content is more trustworthy than brand-generated content. So for instance, if we have a brand profile on Instagram, which obviously brands also use the Instagram for, you know, for promoting their products, or we have a user-generated content, the user-generated content will be seen as more trustworthy because it's seen as more honest, perhaps is less subjective as the brand-generated content. So that is why the consumer's more inclined to follow and trust the opinion of other users who tried the product, yeah, and can share their experience on it as well. And we see as well as, you know, there's some research on motivations behind sharing the information about the product with the others. What motivates people to actually do that, and some yeah, there's a lot of research on that as well. So electronic word of mouth, which comes out of it, is obviously become more popular since 2004. It's more powerful than traditional word of mouth because it's quicker, more convenient, and just as we mentioned, as I mentioned on Generation Z, wanting to the information at a quicker pace. So that's why this is, you know, picking up the pace much faster as well. There is obviously a benefit of reaching the larger number of people as well, and perhaps sometimes with less cost than the, you know, the traditional types of media would allow. So the electronic word of mouth is any positive or negative comment made by the consumer about the product, which is available to the different kind of users online. So the companies wouldn't often use just you know, online sort of marketing strategies, but they will extend their traditional types of communication using the electronic word of mouth as well. And marketers employ and manipulate to some extent this word of mouth to influence the consumers' buying behaviors and attitudes. So obviously we try to use it for their benefit, and that's one of the reasons why they use the online opinion leaders or the micro celebrities, which we're talking about today. So let's move to the next slide. And perhaps just to give you an overview what's happening in relation to the theoretical underpinning. So what kind of, where's the academic research when it comes to micro celebrities? So because it's quite a recent phenomenon, most of the research on micro celebrities is based on the models of theories which are related to the traditional celebrity endorsements. So here I just put few of the theories. It's not all which is obviously used, but this is probably the ones which I encountered the most when talking about what makes a good digital influencer, or you know, how do the companies go about selecting the right influencer for their brand, for their product. Source credibility model by Howland is probably the most famous, the most known model and used in the literature. It's a credibility model which assesses the credibility of the celebrity by certain factors such as expertise within the area, attractiveness, the physical attractiveness as well, and trustworthiness. Yes, so these factors will indicate whether this endorser is the right for the business, for the company. It has extensively been used to understand online celebrities as well. And I would say, you know, where the current research is in relation to micro celebrities is these factors do apply to online celebrities. However, there's many other factors which we also need to include. So there is extension of the current of the existing models when it comes to the micro celebrities. So for instance, the research found that in relation to digital influencers, the factors such as authenticity and originalities are the main factors which assess the credibility of the celebrity. Yeah, so when the business perhaps looking for the right online celebrity for their products, they will have to look at authenticity, the originality, because it's by now it's a very saturated market, and the digital influencers working very hard to understand how do we keep this fast pace, how do we interact, entertain these audiences which are very demanding. You know, they have to post their make their post very regular pace. If they don't do that for a week or two, they're losing a lot of followers, because the followers might think that, well, you're not really interacting, you're not interested, and then they just move on to the next next celebrity. So yes, so authenticity and originality, very important. You know, how different are you from all the other celebrities online? Also, obviously, because it's an online experience, and if we take Instagram page, for instance, or even YouTube videos, the quality of the videos and the photographs on Instagram pages is very important as well. So there are often big teams behind the digital influencer who looks after, you know, the high quality images portrayed, and that also affects the credibility, because you know, people don't want to follow the pages which are not looked after, or you know, the image is not really attractive enough. So there are a lot of you know, the full range of the different factors which not mentioned in this traditional types of models and have to be researched more when it comes to online celebrities. So that research is, you know, has been done for the past few years, but I do think that in terms of what's really lacking is providing the theoretical underpinning for the online celebrities, as we do have for traditional. Whether it's creating the new you know, theories, or whether it's extending the existing theories which I put on this slide, that's you know, there is an option for that. Product matchup theory, and that's really talking about how does you know, does the celebrity have to match the product? You know, if it is a sportsman, you know, famous sportsman, so it makes sense that they advertise, they endorse the sports there, so therefore it matches to the expertise as well. It's a little bit different, I would say, in digital influencers. If they are, if a page is positioned in a way that it's they do have an expertise, let's say in a beauty industry or fashion industry, then yes, that's, you know, it's obviously easier to match up to their profile. Source attractiveness model. there are theories which say that attractiveness is a key factor then assessing the, in a way, credibility of the celebrities. We all like to look at attractive people. And here attractiveness refers to likability and similarities. So do we like the person? And also how similar this personality to our own. So we tend to like people who are similar to us. And I think that's why one of the factors which we users appreciate is the how relatable is the online celebrities to themselves. And the reason why they don't relate to traditional celebrities is because they can't perhaps sometimes achieve the same what these traditional celebrities achieve. However, if you have someone who is coming from, you can see that the it's a girl who's become very famous through the followership, and she's doing something which you could, the other girl could have done online. So it's obviously inspirational, and they can relate to that and inspired to do the same and achieve the same as well. Yeah, the meaning transfer model as well is we transfer the meaning of a certain lifestyle to the certain products, and that's where obviously it comes to the play in terms of the credibility of celebrity endorsements. So if in traditional types of celebrities, we know the stories from the press when celebrities behaved not very well, and therefore that transferred into the product they endorse, the brand, and affects the brand credibility as well. And in that case, the brands often got rid of these celebrities. So in terms of the online celebrities, it does actually work very similar. So although maybe there's less guidelines, but there are obviously some of the codes of conduct between which has been agreed between the companies and the digital influencers. Of course, if we're talking about some of the very big digital influencers, which we have to follow up. And in cases if they don't do what they preach, then obviously that also can have detrimental effect on the companies as well. So one of the concepts I wanted to mention here as well, when it comes to online communication, is self-presentation. This is the presentation of individual in a society. Yeah. So how does the individual want to be seen or perceived by other people? And I think it's very important for the online celebrities, or generally how the people want to be portrayed in social media. It's a very important aspect or in the context of social media. And as subscribers often share the information about themselves with others, and they want to almost build a certain image of themselves. So if you're looking at the certain profile of the digital influencer on the Instagram, you instantly will create a perception of that Instagram page. Yeah. And if it's a page which have been developed with a lot of work behind the scene, there is a certain image they want you to perceive. Yeah, they want their audience to perceive. For instance, in the case of Instagram, sometimes the image is actually seen as unrealistic. So we would hear some criticism towards Instagram saying that because it's based on images, on the photographs, some users perhaps trying to put very idealistic picture of themselves, whether it's actually the actual picture, making themselves look more attractive, or actually trying to portray more attractive lifestyle, almost unachievable, and not, trying to put that picture perfect images, which does not have very a lot of common things with the reality. Yeah, so self-representation is very important. So in a way, the person could be referred to as an actor who shows self as expected by the audience to appear more credible and likable. So yes, obviously the digital influencers, could also manipulate what does my audience want to see. So I'm going to give them what they want to see, and they're able to do that. They're able to understand what their audience wants by their interaction, yeah, through their comments, through the options of liking the post which they put the content, whether it's YouTube or Instagram. So they can already see which images will be liked more and which images would have more comments under them. So therefore they will try to increase this kind of content to increase their engagement. That again doesn't mean that these images will be as true representations of themselves, but this is what perhaps they want to, this is what the users want the others to see them as. Yeah. It's interesting, actually. Just yesterday I was looking at some of the information someone posted as you know, they one of the digital influencers, and obviously they're followed by the people who they follow, people they know as well, maybe friends and family as well, and they were saying, well, you know, and they were just saying, why do you put the image of yourself, a better of yourself, in the Instagram if I already know how you look in real life? Yeah, so this is just almost making fun of saying, well, Instagram is not what reality is. Yeah, so there is actually been probably less research on the focusing on the use of photographs in social media, and only on the last few years there was a lot of research coming up on Instagram and the images. And actually it is important because a lot of users prefer the use of images because it gives them sort of very quick opinion of the certain things. So there's been more research coming on in the recent years. So micro celebrities maintain a sort of show to sustain the attention of their followers in social media. It is a similar case with traditional celebrities, because they also display a certain type of self and lifestyle, which doesn't always coincide with maybe the expectations as well. Or they're trying to, you know, raise certain expectations and trying to look the certain way. So when it doesn't follow the expectations, that's when the problems appears, because that's when we talk about, you know, the unexpected behavior or bad behaviors of celebrities, whether it's online or offline. So the user is able to modify their self-presentation to appear more appealing and favorable to strangers. But obviously, as I said, it's less possible to do it if people know you. Yeah, so there's no point of trying to make yourself look different if someone is very familiar with your actual lifestyle. Yeah, so online communication is purposely used by individuals to improve self-impression strategies. And that's possible with the use of certain special effects, which allowed, you know, special filters, for example, online, which makes the images look more attractive. And social media users also able to control the content of their posts, so which again helps them to look a bit more attractive when it is in real life. And I have got some of the images. It's almost trying to make a fun of, you know, reality and Instagram pictures. So I'll show that to you a bit later on as well. We can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so some of the general sort of observations, what's happening. Yeah, so social media, as we've seen, enables content creation, which allows the companies to interact and communicate with a larger number of users. What also is offered is we often see the situation then users use a personal account on Instagram and they create the large followership by, you know, engaging and interacting with the users. And then they do have this considerable number of followers. They become entrepreneurial and open their another Instagram page, for instance, or, you know, in the other social media, which is purely for the business. So they basically opening the business themselves. And as they already have got a followership on their personal page, so they can almost as promote their page, the business page, on that personal page. And that also creates the credibility, because when you share, you will see that a lot of these digital influencers, they share a lot of personal content as well. And the reason for that is because you become more relatable if you share the personal content. If you show your family, your children, so people feel that you're really honest, because you're telling us about yourself, you're telling about your everyday routine and what you actually do, and you're showing a lot of the content which traditional celebrities will not share. And that's what makes them more that's what makes people think, users think makes them more trustworthy, because they get you into a lot of personal information. It's obviously opens up all sort of a lot of negative effect as well, because we know a lot of maybe so-called hatred comments as well, which big digital influencers get towards the family and etc. So there's a lot of negativity behind that as well. And some people think, well, if you have put something online, then you should be able to face the criticism as well. But however, this criticism is not always constructive, but it's I guess it's part of the fame as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of obviously the positives for the businesses to use the digital influencers is less costly in some ways. However, when we see some of the statistics, we'll actually realize that because it's becoming, digital influencers becoming quite an official way of communication between the businesses and the users. So there are high costs involved as well, and it's for some people it's a full-time job, so they can, and quite a comfortable job as well, with a comfortable annual income as well. So marketers can gain valuable insights on the products and their customers at a faster pace than previously when using offline media. And therefore, that's the reason why they often use with digital influencers. The advantage as well is by looking at the comments, by looking at the engagement, the business is able to find more information about the profile inside of the users, of the followers of the certain digital influencers, and therefore, when targeting a certain micro celebrity, they can really make it very selective. If you look at the profiles of the users which follow these celebrities, so you can really make up your mind whether your product or your brand will match this target audience. So it's very specific reach is possible through this type of communication. Yes, because obviously by looking at the users' profiles, you can get the information, through their photos, through the comments, through the engagement, and there's some very valuable information comes in from there. Yeah, quite often you will see as well with digital influencers, they might have not just one social media which they want to focus on, but they might start with, let's say, Instagram page. They see that they're becoming very popular, and then they decide to expand their team and actually go with the videos on YouTube, which provides them more opportunities as well. And recently we see there's more popularity coming up through the TikTok. So a lot of the Instagram celebrities have picked up on TikTok as well. And that's what I've got on my next slide. Dimitra, please. Thank you. Yeah, so TikTok is an interesting one. And when I was trying to look for, where does the future research leads us to? And I think there's a lot of potential in TikTok for the businesses to utilize. There were some questions, how can it actually be used? But we can see, although there's a very, very minimum research on TikTok at the moment, but I think it will come up, and we can see that the online celebrities on TikTok are becoming very, very, increasingly popular. So it's definitely, if you're looking for future research, you're interested in this area, I would really say TikTok is go for. It's a probably younger target audiences, and we know that a lot of children signed to TikTok as well. But it's a very creative platform as well. So as I said, I'll focus on Instagram and YouTube a bit more. Doesn't mean that there's no online celebrities on Twitter, on Facebook as well, but we have more prominent celebrities on these two platforms. So we're going to go to the next slide, which I'll just quickly mention about the YouTube. Okay, so YouTube, I'm sure you all know, so it's a visual-based social media, which is, sharing the videos between the users. Let's say maximum duration of the video is 12 hours. However, I think the longest video uploaded was over 500 hours. I'm not sure how well it was viewed, probably just for curiosity, people just click on it. Majority of user-generated content videos tend to be less than an hour, because the research finds that the attention span of the consumers, they tend to have videos for around 15-20 minutes, and just to make it more content, more focused, and actually keep the viewer's attention. So you don't see big digital influencers actually doing very long videos. So by attracting large following and achieving high monthly view count, YouTube personalities, also known as vloggers or bloggers, they can actually produce enough income to make it as their permanent profession. And we'll see some of the top channels by individuals which definitely has been the most successful. So once the subscriber counts to 10,000, so once the YouTube channel has got 10,000 subscribers, they automatically become YouTube partner, which enables the monetization of videos to generate income from advertisements. So when you look at video, you see the advertisements, and some of the videos run before, during, and after videos. And the marketers, obviously, and businesses have recognized the YouTube benefits, and they partner with users to create sponsored videos to promote their products. Sometimes they just give a free PR products which can be featured in their YouTube videos. By regulations, the digital influencers do have to, the YouTubers have to make sure that they acknowledge to the users that this is a sponsored content and the products have been provided to them by the companies. So that's, if it wasn't the case maybe 10 years ago, that obviously there was not that much interactive recognition by the businesses that the reviews on YouTube can be very successful for selling their products. However, now it's more regulated. The video sharing platform YouTube is, after Facebook and Google, is the most visited worldwide. And as we see, it provides a lot of opportunities to engage with current target audiences, to reach new consumers as well, and build a brand, brand awareness. There's certain types of industries or areas which the channels on YouTube are most popular, and I would say among them is travel bloggers, food bloggers, beauty gurus, the channels about children and motherhood and families, and toy reviews. And it's incredible, actually, if you look at statistics. So the top channels, top subscribed channels in YouTube, among them is a lot of the toy reviews channels, because I guess a lot of the kids are watching on the repeat these toy channels, and I think it's incredible to see that obviously they're used used very highly. Yeah, so YouTube obviously offers business wide range of advertising opportunities, and they can be targeted by geographic and demographic criteria as well. In terms of geographic, that the highest number of YouTube users situated in the United States, followed by Brazil, Russia, and Japan. And also we can, you know, target the audience by the age as well. And the majority of users on YouTube will be between 25 to around 44 years old. In terms of the male and female, they're equal distribution between them, use of this platform, while, as I said, Instagram is more famous among women. So if we go to the next slide, just to get you a bit of statistics, so T-Series is on top of the most subscribed channels, but if we go in terms of the digital influencers, is PewDiePie. This is the Swedish gamer who has got the highest subscribed channel, and generally his annual income from the YouTube is about $16 million, and is followed by Nursery Rhyme channel. And as you can see, the T-Series on top is actually Indian series channel, and as we see on fourth place is said India is also Indian channel. It actually talks about the, you know, the popularity within the certain countries. 5 Minutes Crafts, as you can see, as you follow afterwards, is a music company which is obviously based on the videos on musicians, and like Nastya and Kids Diana Show, they're actually the children's channels. So this is the ones I told you where, you know, it's a content which is made by the families or based on their children, and they do base it on nursery rhymes or role play, and obviously the kids usually gets glued to this kind of channels. Not sure if it's a good thing, however, but the reality is they're probably highest earners on YouTube. If we go to the next page, that's on Instagram. And yeah, I mentioned Instagram quite a lot already. It's probably the most popular social media type. It's a one where people don't just come in once to check, let's say it might be for Facebook, but they constantly check the page. So the users look at their Instagram page few times a day. The reach is more than 1 billion users, and they're very active users as well, as I said, because we check it very often in a day. I think Instagram, in terms of research, is probably the most interesting when you look at the digital influencers, and really because a lot of these digital influencers become digital influencers due to the creation of the social media. Recently, one celebrity's profile has got highest number of followers, which reached 238 million subscribers. I'll show you later who that is. And actually, in that case, is it traditional celebrity? But still, you know, they use their social media, they use their Instagram page for, you know, for interaction with businesses as well. And the highest, the top Instagram channels, it costs sometimes up to $1 million to advertise one post, one brand post. So it's just tells you that, you know, the digital influencers' importance and their reach of the audience can be as big as one of the, you know, television network. So I don't think businesses should really discount that, and that's what we see. They recognize the importance of this. So Instagram is a visual platform. The users mainly upload their photographs. They communicate through the liking and pictures. They now introduce stories, so there's a little clips. And you will often see that these days, if years ago you would see the Instagram photographs and there's not much text under that, but now the digital influencers, they do engage in a text very often, and they always post a question at the end of their message, because Instagram, the popularity works through the engagement with the audience. So if you have got a question in the message, which generates a lot of answers from the users, and therefore it shows that your page is popular. And obviously the digital influencers have got millions of subscribers. They can't answer every comment, and therefore they're trying to make the engagement to some way rather than just commenting. Okay, I'm just looking at the time, and I think I've got 5 minutes here, Dimitra. So I'm gonna just sort of go through probably the most of the key things of what I wanted to talk. Yeah, Instagram is highly effective to deliver marketing messages to the followers, and we've seen some of the examples of that. Perhaps if we go through the next slide, please, just give some of the examples here. So it's a lot of work going on around how do you tell the story on Instagram, how do you position the page right, the purpose of the page, is it inspirational, is it motivational, what do you want, what is the message here? A lot of Instagrammers want to position their images in a way that they, as I said, if you open the page, you need to straight away, you can see that this is the face of that digital influencers. They use hashtags, they use the stories. It's interesting that during lockdown, I think, the digital influencers were very puzzled, how do we communicate? Because it was almost as, if they posted sponsored content, they got criticism for almost as, trying to earn the money at the time when people can't earn the money, or, when it's difficult time for everyone. And therefore, a lot of the digital influencers were quiet, and they were a bit worried to post the sponsored content. However, what they did is they posted a lot of the personal stuff, and also they upload the videos on IGTV, and also they did live streaming to talk to their followers. Some of the celebrities did that, so you might have seen some of them. I think Robbie Williams, he did some of the singing during the lockdown, which I think was very, very good, because they tried to cheer up people. Yeah, so obviously they had to adapt and think of their strategy during that difficult time as well. Yeah, so as I said about, Instagram is almost seen as a fake, based on fake pictures. So there's a picture here of Instagram and reality, and more the digital influencers try to show the reality. Is almost saying that, we motivate you to be real. We don't just want to be fake. Yeah, so what you see on Instagram doesn't always show the reality. And I think it helped to certain target audiences, because there was a research on the younger girls and the body image, which was portrayed on Instagram, and it did show that it affected their mental health, because they felt that they were trying to achieve something which they can't. Interesting fact, you will see the picture of an egg here, and actually it was the most liked Instagram post. It was liked by over 54 million different accounts. The owner posted it this September, and asked users, like this picture so we can beat the previous most liked post, which was put by Kylie Jenner, and she received 18 million likes when she announced her pregnancy news. Well, obviously, as we can see, everyone wanted to beat this post, so he's quickly achieved 54 likes. If we go to the next slide, so this is where we can see top Instagram pages. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who is, I would say, quite recently become the #1, followed by the singer Ariana Grande. The Rock has, the actor, has got a very high number of followers. He's, I think, been one of the most paid actors recently, and then it's followed by Kylie Jenner, Selena Gomez, and Kim Kardashian. I would say in this case, they're more traditional types of celebrities, but so they're still on top of of who the people actually want to follow. Okay, if we go to the next slide, so just quickly on the cost, it's really more of the interesting sort of facts. So the most viewed YouTube channel is actually Ryan Toys Review, and the annual earnings are $26 million. Dollars. I think they were one of the first one who started posting the toys reviews for so it's children content, and although we didn't see them on the top subscribed channels, however, as you can see, they have got the most views. I think some of the videos, it's actually features the boy Ryan and his family, and in one of his videos where he was opening the egg, surprise eggs with the toys inside, it's reached more than 1 billion viewers, which I think is incredible as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for the influencers, you know, some of them opening their Instagram pages, which paid pages, so they ask for monthly subscriptions to their channel. They opening the master classes, they're live streaming, and marathons as a column, for example, on how to lose weight, or you know, how to be healthy, and they're trying to get the monthly subscription for that as well. So a lot of opportunities there as well. And if we come to the final slide, really just to wrap it up, I think I mentioned a lot of the things in terms of the expectations already, and you know, how people have to think, how to behave in a certain way, as now they obviously, you know, they're role models for the big audience as well, and therefore they have to portray the certain behavior as well. One of the interesting facts is one of the digital influencers in fashion, she's got more than 1 million followers, and she tries to portray herself, I would say, as a very idealistic and playing by rules person, and she's gone on. She had a lot of backlash during the COVID lockdown, because when there was a lot of restrictions, she has announced that she has a COVID, and she actually almost videoed the whole process of testing, etc. However, she then, I think by purely not really thinking about it, shown in the videos how she was coming out of the house and putting obviously people on danger while she was not well, and she had a lot of criticism, and in fact I think she almost has, you know, she didn't go online for 2 months, probably just to deal with that. I think yeah, that's what it is. So I think, you know, the area is obviously, although it's well researched now, but I think there's a lot of hopefully there's more research coming up, and I think it's interesting to look at as well. So I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Very much, Elmira. That was really educational. I found it very interesting, and I've learned a lot about influencers. It's actually amazing how this new phenomenon actually has started becoming very prominent the last couple of years, as you mentioned at the beginning. I have a couple of questions, and please do excuse if they sound a bit too naive, but do those influencers concentrate on a particular product? And I don't mean only toys or only sport equipment. Do they concentrate on a brand name, or do they just do that for any product? And how do they actually collaborate, if you want, with companies? Yeah. Or are they independent?
They are independent, so they don't usually, I mean, they could, generally, for instance, if you take this channel, the Toys Review, yeah, Ryan Toys Review, so it's obviously the target audience is children with parents and their parents, perhaps, yeah, because they, at the end of the day, will regulate what their kids watching is. But I think it's about pastor behavior. So obviously they're trying to, you know, the child unwrapping the toy, which has been given by the company. So obviously it's whether obvious sponsored content or maybe hidden sort of message there. But children then obviously will pester their parents to buy that product. So in that case, it's based on the toys. it's very unlikely that the company will come to you if they're not based on children or toys products to review that. For instance, in a case, if it's, let's say, Instagram profile, which is trying to show about healthy eating, the recipes, how to cook healthy, in that case, you know, some of the food companies, the restaurants will approach this digital influencer and ask to advertise their content. So it's really just trying to find your match. So, but they're not usually, I mean, sometimes you would get, let's say, one Instagrammer because they're big in fashion, and the brand will almost make a deal for that with them for a year, where every month maybe you will be, you know, maybe wearing their clothes and promoting that brand.
Okay. I mean, if anybody else has any questions, please do make sure that you add your questions in the Q&A, and then I'll pick it up from there. I actually wanted to ask, I mean, at some point you did mention that the more prominent industries that the influencers sort of do a lot of work and influence a lot consumers. You mentioned traveling, toys, fashion. I think you did mention food as well,
yeah.
Didn't you? I mean, are there any other industries? I mean, the one industry, for example, that came up in my mind when I was listening was, what about automotive, for example, or the more electrical equipment?
Yeah.
What about those ones?
Yeah, definitely. They're also, they're not, I mean, as we see, the top YouTube channel is actually a gamer. So this is the person who talks about the electronic games. To be honest, I'm not into games, but it's incredible because I didn't realize that that market is so big. And again, as well, you know, the channels that review the automobile, you know, industry, they're very big, you know, aeroplanes, aircrafts, they're very big as well. It's a different kind of audience, and they might not always have a very, you know, to be at the top. I think one of the reasons that why that channel with the gamer was very on top is because the games actually are very popular, which we might not always realize if we're not in that area. But the other channels are also very, very prominent. In fact, I think YouTube is so saturated, you can find anything there now, really anything which interests you. That's why it's so fascinating, because, you know, you can, you know, for instance, we don't have TV at the moment. We just use YouTube if we want to see anything, you know, because you know that you can find any content there, and, you know, the brands themselves put the content there. It's obviously user-generated content as well. You can watch anything there. So yes, definitely, it's a lot of the content in the other areas as well.
Interesting. That is very interesting. Thank you very much for your time, Elmira, and for the very interesting presentation. Thank you, everybody, for joining our presentation. And we hope that you enjoyed it. And I think I will leave it there. Can we please stop the recording? Justin, can you help me there, please?